what? Yorkie here in
A
studio.
very shy Yorkie, but I am seeing promise.
A little bit.
Yeah, heads up.
Starting to catch on. As we did this show, it was a big day here for the sales team. There's about 10 or 12 people here, and the puppies were stolen out of our studio within minutes, and they played with them for about a half hour. So.
We had ladies on the floor playing
with the puppies.
Like kids again.
They're
that was
like
fun.
A magnet here. And the Poshie is going to be our breed of the week. Pomeranian and Sheltie. That's what that is. And it's really cute. It's gray. I'm going to get the photo up at kxic.com on the podcast page and on our blog for the Positively Petland show. So you can check that out. We're also going to talk about another brand of dog food today, right?
Yes, where you're going to talk just in general about science diet.
Science diet. And then what's the topic for the show?
We're going to talk about training, communicating with your dog, and what are the top 3 ways to positively reinforce good behaviors? And we'll just define that more, but we'll talk about tactile, touching and all that, and treats and some other things, and how to use them, because I think some of us love to do all that, but if you do it with intent, with some purpose, you can really influence some behaviors of your dog
instead of just random treats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually use them for a purpose and get some training in there.
Get some communication going.
Very cool. So we'll do that. We have the amazing pet story of the week to get to as well. But Ron, first of all, how are things going at the store?
It's beautiful weather, so I'm digging it. I love the sun. We're getting rain here, so we're off to a really nice start of the summer, and you can see it in the store. It's craziness and fun and playing, and people getting all sorts of pets from the store. So that's always a good thing.
Very cool. And so we always encourage you to stop by Petland of Iowa City, located on Lower Muscatine, easy to get to. Opens up at noon today, since it's a Sunday when you're hearing this show in the 9 o'clock hour. And so stop by and see what they have to offer. A whole wall full of foods, different types of foods. We'll focus on science diet today, but there's a whole bunch of different brands of foods. And then, of course, the puppies on the other side of the store. You have the fish section in the back. You have lizards and all kinds of cool stuff there. So stop by with your family at Petland of Iowa City. And today we'll talk about the amazing pet story. You just heard Ron kind of set the table, tell you what we're going to talk about. And let's bring in Big Voice Guy. Here he is. Big Voice Guy, what's he wearing today?
A daisy coming out of his hair.
It's time for the amazing
daisy.
pet story of the week.
Oh, it's springtime. Okay, I get it. He's got a flower in his hair.
Yeah, I guess he looked kind of nice. Interesting. I think interesting is the best way to describe the way he looked.
That. All right, thank you, Big Voice Guy. He's been a lot friendlier here in 2015. Have you noticed that?
I think it was a New Year's resolution. He was talking with me back in the hallway.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was talking to, because I always had to yell at him and get on his case because he was just out of control. But he's been good here in 2015. So today we go to Afghanistan and we learn about a superhero dog that saved his Army partner's life in Afghanistan. For U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Julian McDonald, Leica, a 4-year-old Belgian Malinois, is that right? Malinois, with a missing paw, just isn't a canine companion. She's a hero. McDonald, who's 29 years old, says that Leica saved his life on an overseas deployment in 2012. McDonald was on his eighth overseas tour. Wow. Completing a routine mission with his teammate, Leica. And we got there, and he said that when they went there to assess the situation, people started to shoot, and Leica was hit about 4 to 6 controlled rounds at her. He called it a dire situation. And after surgeries, they were able to amputate the dog's right paw, but the dog is still safe, and he is safe. Thankfully, his life he owes to Leica. And so congratulations, some photos of the dog, trained dog, and we've occasionally talked about that, how amazing these dogs. He's got the medal around her neck, and it's his companion now. So cool story there.
Yeah, I love how dogs help us not only in the military there, but our police force. They are incredible. If you've never been able to watch these dogs in action and how they work and what they do and everything, it is incredible that we are given this gift to help us.
It is, and their instincts to help save. They're owners and their companions, and it's just it's truly incredible. And this video, which I'm going to link up on our blog, she's hopping around on 3 legs pretty easily. It feels like we had that one caller I remember that called and said that they had the dog that was injured, and then they had to cut the paw off at the veterinarian's office, and he said the dog got off the back of the pickup truck, and he figured, oh, we're gonna have to help him get to the house, and he said took off in a sprint with 3 legs like it was nothing else. And so very cool story there. I'll link this up if you want to see the video and see the report. We'll give credit to Good Morning America with that report from Afghanistan. So very cool story there. That's your amazing pet story of the week. And so what we're going to do is go take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the breed of the week, and it is the Poshie, right?
The Poshie.
Poshie.
The Poshie.
Poshie. I got my Poshies and Moshies mixed up. The Poshie. It's a Pomeranian Sheltie. Very cute dog, and you can check out the photo on our blog at kxic.com. Plus, Ron is going to talk about communicating with your pets, and we're going to talk about science diet. We'll be back with more after this. AM 800 KXIC. Welcome back. It's the Positively Petland Show, AM 800 KXIC. I'm Jay Capron. Ron Salzard here with Petland of Iowa City. We're talking pets here. Check out the podcast if you've missed the first part of this show. It's kxic.com. Boy, this Poshie is really likes to get into things.
Yes.
I was going to call it a troublemaker. I think that's a good term here.
Our little
trouble child,
Susie.
like Susie.
Yeah.
Susie stole their toy, I understand.
Yes. I brought a toy home. Let's go play. Susie picked it up and walked away.
Oh, Susie. See, a little background. Ron does the TV show, too. And so you might see Ron when you're watching the news, and you'll see Ron on CBS 2, Fox 28, their news. But so he brings the puppies home the night before. So every week he brings the puppies home, and then he brings them here to the studio on that Thursday morning. So that's how the little process works. So your dog, Susie, and Callie get to see these pups every week.
Oh, yeah. And when I
interact with them a little bit.
It's almost they know, and Susie greets me every, it's just, like your dog at home greets me when I come in through the door every day. But when she sees that, when I open it up, she instantly can smell.
Does she get excited?
Oh, yeah.
She likes to play with them?
Oh, yeah. And then she can't wait for me to put that kennel down and then open up the door.
Like, who is it this week? Who is it this week?
Can I mother this one? Or do I just play? What do I do today? Hey, it's not responding. I'll nudge them along,
That's
and so
awesome.
Starts interacting right away.
That's great. That's so cool. And so they, what about Callie? Does she just kind of take a step back?
Callie is a much more cautious dog, so she kind of looks at it from afar. She is very food motivated, and so she's waiting for us because the first thing we do is get some food and water for them, make a little mush for them just to welcome them into the house. And so Callie waits for us to do that, and she tries to get in on that one. I think I need some of this. And so we always have to kind of shush her away to let the puppies get in there.
Great.
So it's a fun interaction.
It sounds like it. That's Ron Salzrud with Petland of Iowa City. I'm Jay Capron. So tell us about the Poshie, Pomeranian Sheltie, right?
Yes. So it is a mix between a Pomeranian, so that 5 to 7 pound Pomeranian double coat, really fluffy double coat. And then the Sheltie, kind of that smaller collie, or everybody thinks of the collie or the Sheltie as a miniature collie. And so those two combine, and this one's got that merle coloring, so a combination of grays, blacks, and whites all mixed through. So really pretty dog, very active, I will say. Has been looking for in the teething phase, so looking for things to chew on for sure. So just like every dog, you want to make sure these guys have plenty of chew so they don't chew what you cherish. So
yeah, she has been looking for stuff to chew on ever since she got here. Like cords and the garbage can, and she's just all trying to find something to chew on.
Yeah, when you're holding her, she's all about your hands then.
Yeah.
And so I always say that when they do that kind of thing, if you have a dog at home, a puppy at home, and it's doing a lot of that gumming and stuff like that, of
Toys, right?
Get toys, but it's also a great time to talk about or start training on the chewing aspects of things, because you're going to get a lot of chances to reinforce good habits and discourage bad habits. Had to move away from the the microphone there, because little Poshie was getting after the extension cords. I'm going to be raising those up now.
Yes.
Or I will go off air.
We don't need her to get poofed.
Poofed.
She bites into a cord if it's active. We don't want that to happen, after all. No doubt. The Poshie causing some problems here, but that's all right. She's a
So yeah, if you're looking for an active breed, this is definitely going down your lane right there.
And she really is beautiful, absolutely, with that gray color. And again, if you want to see what it looks like, you could check out the podcast page, or actually our blog at kxic.com, where you can see the photos. I'm going to put that photo up there so you can see what this dog looks like. And just a beautiful gray dog. And I see a lot of Sheltie in it, but you can see the Pomeranian too.
Right. So we know it's going to be a shedding dog. So if shedding is not your thing, then a Poshie is not what you would want. Know that you can use the Furminator, like we've talked about in the past. Really good tool if you have a shedding dog right now and that's really troubling you. Go get a Furminator. They work amazingly well. If you do it on a regular basis, you'll have very next to a low shedding dog at that point. And so that kind of tool would be really good for the Poshie. What's some other things? Smaller dog. So we're looking at a 10 to 15 pound, probably 15. I'm not seeing anything more than that. And so it's a nice smaller dog for an apartment, condo, small yards, that kind of a thing. This guy will definitely want to go for walks as well, though. With all this energy, you're going to go, how do I get it out? And so you throw the ball around in the house, but a nice long walk will also help for this guy.
Good deal. So that's the breed of the week. It's the Poshie. And maybe you can talk a little bit about how you could train this Poshie or any other type of dog with treats. That's the next topic.
So moving into treats, there is we've talked about 3 different ways to positively reinforce with your dog, and it's now becoming scientifically proven. We've known it for thousands of years anecdotally, but they're now starting to do studies on what is the best ways to positively reinforce your dog, and the number one is food. It's treat oriented, and so we'll talk about that today. The other two, the second in line is tactile reinforcement. So it's that scratching around the head, and they do specifically say around that head area. Mm-hmm. They really love that. They see that as a positive sign. And then just a verbal. I couldn't get it out, and I'm talking verbal. And a verbal. So it's that good dog, good dog. So that's the third. And I always say if you combine all 3, you've just got a power-packed positive reinforcer. And so what we know about training in reinforcing is that if you do it at the right time, you're going to reinforce behaviors, and that could be good or bad. So if your dog is jumping up on you and you start scratching its head, you're reinforcing your dog to jump up on you. Or if you give them a treat when they jump up on you, you're reinforcing that. So putting it at the right time is really critical, so that you're reinforcing what you want to have happen. So let's say that I baited you on that jumping up thing. The way to discourage behavior in that situation is just turn around. Don't give them any attention whatsoever, and they'll over time stop doing it. As long as you reinforce good behavior, that is not jumping up on you. So when they come running up to you, before they can jump up on you, give them a scratch on the head. If they know you got a treat, give them the treat at that point. But as soon as they jump up, turn around and don't give them anything, and that will discourage that behavior. Another time when you can reinforce behaviors is those people that have, my dog does the potty thing in the house every once in a while, or maybe it is a lot. Reinforce your dog in a positive way when they do it outside. And so having a treat with you when you go out there is really important, so that when they do their business in the yard, even where you want them to do it, then give them a treat, give them a good dog, and then even verbally congratulate them. Oh, you're such a good dog. You did such a nice job. Do it immediately, just at the tail end of when they're still doing it. That way they know that you're reinforcing that they did potty out there. And if you're even wanting it to be in a certain area, just only reinforce that certain area that they're doing it in. A lot of people will give them a treat. I think majority of us, oh yeah, when they come back in through the doorway, here's a treat. Well, you're reinforcing them coming through the doorway at that point. So when you give the treat, whatever behavior they're exhibiting, that's what you're going to reinforce. So you literally, if you give it to them right when they walk in the doorway, they'll walk back out the doorway and back in just to get another treat. So really think through that. And it's once you get the hang of it, you'll go, oh, I kind of get it. And now you're going to reinforce, you knowingly can reinforce those positive behaviors that you want to see over and over again. So let's talk about the different kinds of treats that are out there, because there are a lot of options. Gotta get my whole thing full of treats here. All right, so Natural Balance just came out with a whole new line of treats that are not only nutritious for the dog, but good tasting and have specific reasons why. They've got potato and bison, venison and sweet potato and duck, all sorts of good things. There's another sweet potato and fish. The potato is definitely becoming a staple in our dog's diet, and that's getting away from the grains. Not that grains are bad, and I'm not advocating that at all, because there is no study out there that says grains are bad for your dog. I know on the internet it's talking a lot about that, but they are now starting to talk about potatoes. Is potatoes good for your dog? They'll keep on going down that path, and I'm sure the dog food manufacturers will differentiate themselves. But realize grains are good for your dog. Potatoes are good for your dog. It is a source of calorie, and they are able to digest it very well and use that as energy. So it is appropriate for your dog. But if your dog does have an allergy, which is on the rare side, but if your dog does show symptoms, then that's the time to go down that path. As we hear bangs and clangs in the studio here from the Poshie running around.
She's all over the place.
Some of the general things about Natural Balance, these are little hard bites for the puppy and for the adults. But some things that they've done is it's a limited ingredient treat. And so they're saying, hey, if you are sensitive about what your dog gets, they're saying that, hey, you're going to see limited ingredients on here as far as the protein sources and all that. They're a nice size for your dog as far as a little treat that you can carry a couple of them right in your pocket. The Zooks has been a mainstay in our store. Zooks treats, mini naturals. What I picked up one of those. This is a softer treat, while the Natural Balance that we were talking about, those were all a little hard kibbles. This one is a soft treat, so you can actually break it up. When I say you can use treats to really reinforce good habits, it really is just a taste. You don't have to worry about filling up your dog. They're not looking for a full, they'd love to have that full belly, but just getting a taste is all that you need to do to reinforce those behaviors. What I like about all these different varieties that are coming out here, Zooks Mini Naturals has a wild rabbit recipe. I mean, talk about, that's what the dogs would eat. How many of us have had our dogs literally bring the rabbit up to the back porch and go, don't do that. Well, here you can give them a little bit of that wild rabbit in their treat, so they're gonna love it and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really good one. Natural Choice has a lot of different treats and biscuits, and something that I'm just to bring out, and you can hear the bags crunching and stuff. They have, again, good quality food. The biscuit that they have, and in all of these that I'm talking about today, actually nutritious. It's pound per pound, just as nutritious as your kibble. So this is good stuff. It's not just empty calories or anything like that. what Natural Choice and a lot of these have done is also put supplements into their treats. So I'm looking at one from Natural Choice, Skin and Coat, which is telling me they've got omega-3s, fatty acids, those omega-3s, 6 and 9s that we know for us are good for us, and it makes for a healthier body and skin for us as well. It does the same thing for them. They actually have shown that would decrease shedding because they have a healthier skin. The shedding is less as a result on top of it. The puppy version of their biscuit has DHA in it. And for the parents out there, you guys know that you're feeding DHA to your kids. And DHA only during, I think for dogs, it's during their first 6 months. For children, I think it's a little longer. It helps in brain development, and they actually have proven that you come out with a smarter child if you feed them DHA. Same thing with dogs. They've done studies that showed DHA will make for an easier trainable dog if you do the DHA. Hey, if you didn't have that for the dog that you have, we're talking, smaller increments here of trainability and all that kind of stuff. So don't worry too much about that. But hey, anything that you can do is great on that. And then they have the grain-free version. I have a friend that has one of her golden retrievers, does have food allergies and has reactions. It has the golden retriever gets those hot spots if there's some grain in the food. And so for her, she feeds a grain-free food. And then she has Nutro's Natural Choice grain-free biscuits. And her choice is lamb and potato for her dogs. And she finds whenever she stays on that formula, her dog does much better as far as all that goes. And then what I love, it's not new anymore, but it's still new to most people. There is a new treat out on the market that is so different from everything else. It's almost like, well, why would you get that? Until you understand it and you try it. And then you go, oh my gosh, this is so cool. It's called the Lickety Stick. It comes in different flavors. Jay even turned his head just now, and because he's very interested, he goes, oh, the Lickety Stick.
You've talked about it a lot.
We sell a ton of Lickety Sticks. And it is, think of a roll-on antiperspirant. That's the type of applicator it is. Now, how do you use it? Inside there, so the liquid that's inside it not only tastes amazingly well to the dog, but it also smells really good to the dog. And so as soon as you open the cap, within seconds, the dog can smell it and is immediately going, what do you got there? What do you got there? And then when you put it up to the dog's mouth, starts licking it. And so as the ball rolls, then more of the liquid comes out and they go, oh, I love that. I love that. And so now it's a brand new way of training your dog. We talk about, I said earlier, the treat, all they need is a taste. This takes it to the nth degree. They're just giving them a taste. And so you've got, I think they boast 1,000 licks in each bottle. So you have a bottle that will last a long time as well. It's also because you can close the cap real quick and put it in your pocket. It's really transportable, and you can take it and have it at the ready in a lot of different ways. So the Lickety Stick, we have found to be just an amazing product. It's one of those that if you didn't know what it was and how to use it and all that kind of stuff, you probably would walk right by it. But I'm telling you, pick up one of those Lickety Sticks, bring it home. It is definitely worth it. They're fairly cheap as well. I think it's cheaper than a bag of treats. And you get, I have read, over 500 licks per bottle. So
someone sit there and count the licks.
Yeah. Mine didn't have 500 in it.
It's a fun job.
And so
498. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I want my money back.
Put a little more in that one. And so try out the Lickety Stick. We've had a lot of fun with it at our house, and our customers buy them in large quantities. Every week we're restocking it. So it's a really good treat, and the customers have definitely bought into it as well.
Yeah, you've talked about those before, and the first time I think you brought them in. So now I got an idea of what they look like. Like you said, a good analogy there. The deodorant sticks. It's what it looks like.
It looks like a deodorant, and everything about it. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually took one of the manufacturers' the design of it to cheapen the applicator, so
Mhm.
it's already out there.
Yeah.
I just want that,
Instead
kind
of stick
redesigning
in a
it all
person,
and all
yeah.
that. When I've used it, it looks exactly like
And
a
is that
roll-on.
you twist it to get more to come out?
Oh no, it's a ball at the end.
It's ball.
It's
Okay.
the original. Remember, they still are out there. The roll-on is not you ooze the stuff out like the gels and stuff today. It's a ball at the top, and it rolls and then brings up new. That's for the armpit.
Yeah.
This just is bringing up a I can't get it out again. It's the liquid that has all the great taste and smell for the dog.
Okay. Interesting. Lickety stick.
The lickety stick.
And all those great treats.
Yeah. I haven't counted in a long time, but I think we have over 30 different kinds of treats to work with your dog. So if you're looking for variety, come on in and we can show you what our favorites are and what other customers have said about others. So come in and check it out, and you'll find something good for your dog there.
All right, very cool. And then the last thing we're going to touch on today is Science Diet.
Science Diet. They have been around, over 150 veterinarians for over 70 years. 1939 is when they started. This is one of the original dog food manufacturers. They have put so much science, hence their name, into dog food, and have done so much for the industry that I just wanted to inform you about it, because when you buy a bag of Science Diet, they really buck the trend of, how we're going in this grain-free market and grains are bad for you. They insisted for many years, because the science shows different, that's wrong, that the grains are good for your dog, and that they have benefit, not only calories but substance and everything. And so they've always taken that science view with results, and so they're looking at what happens to the dog when you feed different types of food and a good mixture, so it's a complete nutrition. So Science Diet has done a great job. They have come out now with some grain-free formulas and all that kind of stuff to meet the needs that the customers want. If we say, well, I want a grain-free and that's just the way it is, then they'll go down that path. They also have for years had that byproduct side of things in their foods. They now have non-byproducts in some of the newer foods and all that kind of thing. But when I talked with them many years ago about byproducts, and I said, hey, I'm hearing bad things about byproducts, and they said, well, byproducts can be good things and they could be not good things. And they said, what we're doing is how you want the glucosamine and chondroitin? Well, that comes from cartilage. And so they'll use the appropriate parts of the animal to get that and get the glucosamine chondroitin in a form that your dog can digest into our food. But the FDA says you got to call that a byproduct. And so, I always say, well, it was the lungs and the hearts and the livers. Aren't those all good things for the dog? And yeah, they are. They add nutrients and they add variety into their diet. What the internet has really bashed the byproduct word about is it also means a lot of bone or a lot of hair, things that in abundance doesn't do anything more for your dog. The hair, dog food manufacturers that use that, Science Diet does not. But a lot of those big name manufacturers are out there that you buy based on the price, from the grocery stores and the marts. They put hair in there, and I know that's gross. And the reason why they do it is hair has a protein value. And so they get to claim that on the side of the bag. But we know for ourselves, and we also know from the dogs, they can't digest that protein source. So it's a cheap source, but unfortunately it doesn't do anything good for your dog. Science Diet doesn't play that game. What's good for your dog goes into that food. So for those that are still sensitive, I just don't want the byproduct, because I just, it's tainted my mind on it and everything, and I just don't want it. Or I don't want the grain-free. They have those alternates as well, so that you can have what you want and know that it's science-based. These people do all the work in the background to make sure that it is the best food that you can get for your dog in the right formulations. So that's Science Diet.
Science Diet has been in business for a long time. Do you happen to know if they've always been called Science Diet from the beginning?
There is, I don't know the reason why, but there's Hills is also in their name. So I'm sure the founder of Hills Pet Nutrition, Dr. Mark Morris Sr. is the founder of them. So it sounds like there was, down the line, there was Hills
brand.
And then Science Diet became their name. And they've been pretty steadfast. It's a very popular brand out there.
Yep. I think a lot of people listening right now are familiar with that brand. And they have a lot of things, a lot of different types of food. And as you explained, some quality stuff there. So
yeah, a little like behind the scenes. When I talk with food manufacturers, a lot of them, they're marketers and all that kind of stuff. And they get the marketing hat on and they talk it. When you talk to Science Diet, they're so geeky. It's hilarious. I mean, they're all about the spreadsheets and the data and all this kind of stuff, showing you this and showing you that. So it is a culture of their company, and it's interesting on how they've worked with that over the years. And so it's a fun company. Coming from a science background that I do, mechanical engineering, it's fun to talk geek with them. So
well, it's right there in their name too. I mean, that's science. They base their formula on science, and so good show today, Ron. We're out of time for today, but we talked about the Poshie, which is here in the studio, and judged by the way she looks, she won't be around much longer. She's a cutie. But whoever does take her home has got their hands full, because she has got a lot of energy, and she's
you're gonna want energy. There's so many families that do. This is like kids and all that kind of stuff. I want something that'll play with my kids.
Oh, this one will.
This is that one.
Yes, this one definitely will. And also what is the other one? Is a
Yorkshire Terrier.
And I've been watching here the last few minutes or so. It's been funny because she's trying to get the Yorkie to play. And she's doing everything in her power to try and get her to play. She's
That's been happening all morning
jumping
long.
around, saying, "Come on, let's go." And the Yorkie's just like, "No, I'm not."
There was some blankets this morning that we were playing with, and I just left it laying on the ground. And the Poshie brought the blanket over to the Yorkie and kind of like pushed it in her face to say, "Come on, let's play with it."
And they're like, "No, I don't want to." All right, so we're out of time for the show. Thanks again for your time, Ron, today, and we'll talk to you next time around, right?
Sounds very good.
All right, there we go. It's a Positively Petland show. AM 800 KXIC, Iowa City. If you want to see what this Poshie looks like, check out our website, kxic.com. We have a blog just for this particular show, and this podcast in its entirety can be found at kxic.com. We'll be back with more after this. This has been the Positively Petland show. Bye.
2-0.